Hey guys, welcome back. We're not on the trail, as you can see. We're in the homestead for today because I just want to give a quick update and a quick review of a pair of boots I bought. Now, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll know that I've been having boot issues because I've always been a hardcore Salomon fan ever since I bought my first pair of GTX 3s. They were a brilliant pair. They didn't last as long as I expected for the price, but I was quite happy to buy another pair. But I couldn't get the GTX 3, so I thought I'd downgrade a little bit and get a cheaper version. The Model 1s, which I'm wearing right now, I've done a review video of. They were great as far as comfort, as far as durability. These seem to have lasted longer over similar mileage. I've actually done more miles this year than I did with my GTX 3s. But I can't fault the design, the comfort, the fact that nothing rubs. The fit is beautiful. Can't fault them, but they were letting a lot of water in, regardless of how much water protection I put on them. So I got kind of irate around about doing the Rossendale way. So I kind of lashed out and thought, right, I'm going to go and get some leather boots. And I quickly changed my mind about that too. And if you've seen my recent videos, sort of the last 3 or 4, you'll see I've done a U-turn again. Flip-flopped, I'm going to have to say, because it's all learning for me. All learning, and I'm sure it is for you too. But I want to tell you about these boots so you can make an informed decision for yourself. So, apart from seeing the other video on the GTX, the Salomon GTX video, which I'll link at the end, but I would recommend you pause this one, go back and look at that first so you understand what we're talking about, and then come back and watch this one. Right, so the boots I bought initially are MAGNUM Vipers. I was going to go for the Altbergs, which I highly recommended. They're a very small company in Yorkshire, but the boots of this kind of size, these are the Magnums, but to have a boot like this with the high ankle support would have set me back nearly £300. So initially I put an order in, because you have to order in advance with Altberg, and then I promptly cancelled the order after wearing these. I've totally changed my mind. We'll get to that. So these are the MAGNUM Viper, and you might recognise these as they are generally known as a security or military boot. Most security guards, people in private security, go for this brand. It's a very well known brand in those circles. This is the Viper, so it's full leather. There's no Gore-Tex patches. And on some of the other models you have synthetic patches. So I went for full leather for its waterproofness. Yeah, so as you can see, very durable, very well built. They're about £80 in England, which is sort of, it's not expensive as far as boots go, but it's not cheap. So I got these off Amazon, came pretty quick, and you can see they've got a nice waffle on the bottom. The sole isn't as thick as most hiking boots, because these aren't necessarily designed as a hiking boot. They are sort of military or security application, so it's patrolling, general amounts of walking, but not necessarily expected to hike. On the outside, I was kind of impressed, but I've also known, because I used to be a security guard way back in the past, when I wore these, my main issue was the toe box. And when I read the reviews, most people agree that when they make these, the toe box is quite narrow, even if it doesn't look it. So as compared to these Salomons, I'm not going to take them off because I can't be bothered. The toe box is really wide. There is no squashing of your toes. The toes have plenty of room, which is one of the major selling points for me, for Salomons. These, as soon as you put them on, you will feel that the toes are pushed together. They might not necessarily be rubbing, but they are pushed together and compressed. And that has been sort of the reviews that I've read and most people's opinions. So, moving on. These, obviously being leather boots, I got in touch with my brother Paul, shout out to Paul, who took me through dubbing the boots, i.e. basically getting wax on a cloth and getting it in all the nooks and crannies, getting it all in there to add to the waterproofiness, which was rather satisfying, I'm going to be honest. I enjoyed doing that. So these have been dubbed and then buffed with a cloth. I haven't polished them, sorry Paul. I don't need a high shine. But, so all the dubbing's still in there. So I did wear these for dog walking because obviously the leather, they need to be broken in, and did a couple of weeks like that, never had an issue. But then I took them on the hike, and it's, which video was it? I think it was the Brock video. Nicky Nook. There we go, I got there. Nicky Nook video I wore these for. And that's where the problem started. The reason being, whereas the Solomons I've always complained were quite slippy on wet rocks, these were brilliant. No slips whatsoever. Got a great grip to them. The problem is around about the 10th or 11th mile, that compression on the toe box started to kick in. Not to mention the fact that when you combine it with the warmth that you get from these boots, because there's no breathability, the leather's trapping all that hot air in there that's coming off your feet, these quickly started to blister my feet. So I started getting rub spots on the outside. Surprisingly, I got a rub spot on my left ball of this foot, and it's still there now. It's took away all the hard skin that I'd sort of made for lots of hiking. So that's got to grow back again now. But yeah, so with the toes being compressed, they started to rub against each other. They were hot and sweaty, and where they were pinched also rubbed on the ball of the foot. So that was a nearly 20 mile hike. By the end of it, I was hobbling because these really had sort of done damage, and that was just before Hadrian's Wall. Silly me. When I went back to the Solomons, all those problems vanished. So it kind of sent me back again, and I kind of went to both my brothers who wear these, and they kind of said persevere, you know, and get them really broken in, and sooner or later they will soften. Now, I'll take that, and I'll just carry on using them for dog walking. But with 2 weeks and a 20 mile hike, still not softened, I'm not that hopeful. And the other issue I have is that as I was wearing them, you won't be able to see, but I'm just going to point to it. These two areas, obviously where the boot bends, I've noticed that the stitching is starting to part a little bit. The gaps are getting bigger here, right on the top, which is quite disturbing. So where the dubbing's been, I can see it sort of more clearly where the stitching's starting to give. Whether that's going to turn into a problem in the future, I don't know. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Comfort wise, difficult to say because the bar's set pretty high by Solomon. I would say that the problem with these is you can't get half sizes, or at least where I was looking, I couldn't get a half size, so I got a full size bigger than I need, and they were only just sort of near to fitting. So obviously if you buy a normal size, they'll be quite tight. So these were a size bigger, but the problem with this kind of lacing system is that I can't really get the heel lock that I like. So if you don't know what heel lock is, it's when your feet slide around in the boot up and down, and you want to get the laces not laced up at the top when you tie your knot. You want it down here so it's pulling your foot into the heel area. You can't really do that with this. I'm sure someone out there is going, yeah, you can, you just relace the boot. Yeah, I really can't bother doing all that. I really want boots that I can get on and off. I'm sure you can fancily lace those, but without the steel clips that most boots have now, you can't kind of go up, down and lock in like you can with most other boots. So, not to be too negative to the boots, they are thoroughly well made by the look of it. Well constructed, solid. I remember wearing these on Snowdon years and years ago, probably about 2006, 2008 I think it was. And this saved my ankle from a break. It really did. I leapt over a brook, landed on one foot instead of two, like a complete fool, turned my ankle and thoroughly sprained it. It swelled right up. But it went from being a broken ankle, which I think it would have been, just to a sprain. So 100% trust that good ankle support, and they do feel good when you're wearing them. You get a good sort of really rugged, beefy support to them without feeling heavy. These are a sort of lighter weight boot, but yeah, not quite sold on the leather yet. And in the meantime, I'm sorry to say, I did buy the brand new Solomon GTX 4s, which were on the cheap. I saw a bargain. So they're in a box upstairs ready for when the GTX 1s pack up. So no doubt I will do a video on them. Anyway, that's enough of that. It's boring just watching me sat here talking. So there you go. Magnum Vipers, Magnum boots. Take it or leave it. For me, I'll use them for dog walking, see if they last, see if they break up a bit, and maybe try them again. Anyway guys, hope that was helpful. As always, I will see you next time on the trail.